Hello and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Overcomers. I'm your host, Dorothy Odell. I have the distinct pleasure of bringing some amazing people on this show, and tonight is no different. We are having Gina Ramirez on the show tonight. Welcome, Gina. She is a certified health coach, licensed professional counselor, yoga instructor, and certified worksite wellness specialist. She specializes in guiding professional women who are struggling to establish stable and sustainable ways to have the career they love and the life they crave. Ooh, I love that.
I know it's a mouthful, right? It's a mouthful to say, but it all makes sense when we put it together.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for people who have never met you, share. I know we could say whatever in a bio, but I like to get the essence of the person. So share a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This is such an honor to be here among so many other fabulous people that you have had. So I feel very honored to be here. A little bit about me. My background is I'm a licensed therapist. So that's kind of how I started. I still hold my license, but I don't do therapy anymore. I have switched over through my own health journey into health coaching. So of course it happens that way, right? That we have our own struggles and our own journey, and that kind of brings us into an evolution, so to speak. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to me. I evolved professionally from therapy into health coaching to bring in the mind, body, and behavior piece. So the whole person.
Right. And so what made you decide to switch?
Well, through a lot of different things happening in my life, but one pivotal moment was I was working full time, had little kids, elementary school kids, and kind of burning the candle at both ends, which I think a lot of working women feel like, especially if you have a family. We're trying to give 100% to both areas of our life, and it doesn't work after a while. My hair started to fall out in big clumps. So I had huge bald spots in the back of my head, went to the doctor thinking I had some sort of disease or something was wrong with me, which I didn't, thankfully. But, never once asked me about, hey, how you do it? How's life? Are you stressed? Like, what's going on? Just looking at the symptoms and then giving me something to help those symptoms, which typically happens. That's a doctor's job, and I'm not knocking it. That's what they do. They address the symptoms of whatever it is that you're having. So that happened to me, and I fell asleep actually driving on the highway going 70 miles an hour after guitar practice. My kids were in the car, scared me to death. And that's when I knew, okay, something's got to give. Something is wrong with me. Just kind of started digging around into my health. So not just the mind piece. I knew I was stressed out. I knew I was burned out, but what was missing in my health picture? So went down that rabbit hole and thought, you know what? I need to get certified in this, because why not?
Why not? Another certification. I love that. And it's generally, when something in our lives happen, that's why we change the trajectory of our lives, right? Totally understand that. And sometimes, thankfully, you're okay and nothing happened.
No, somebody honked at me actually as I was driving. Somebody honked at me. So it startled me, so I didn't get into an accident. My kids were okay, but it was enough for me to go, oh, okay, no, something's got to give here.
Right, right. So, there are a lot of burnt out female professionals out there. Somebody who's gone down that rabbit hole myself, I totally get it. And sometimes it's I say the final act of like, okay, now you really got to get your shit together. I totally get that. I was working two jobs, basically around the clock, and this was about 15 years ago, and I did that for 11 months, and then I crashed and burned. I was not in a great relationship, and which didn't help. And that's why I didn't want to be at home. That's why I wanted to work, because I didn't want to be at home. So if you use work as an excuse, then they don't say nothing. So that's what it was, right? And until when you crash and you're like, oh wow. Um, so if there's any female out there that's listening in right now, I totally get that.
Yes,
Who
absolutely.
really want to work with.
hmm And you really have to think about that it's a mind body behavior situation. You can look all day long of I'm stressed out and I'm burned out and I've got these two jobs, but why? It's kind of like you said, you can identify it now, right? That, oh, maybe it was the relationship that I was working two jobs to get away from that. But back then it made total sense to you to be working those two jobs.
100%. Well, it did make sense and it didn't. And, when it quit making sense, I just like, okay, there's something that's got to change. And like you, that was like, the trajectory of turning everything around, getting out of the relationship, getting out of, what didn't serve me at the time, the job that didn't serve me, and complete 180. So I totally get it. So you're also a yoga instructor as well. So, but in the workplace. So how does that work? Like,
Well, not typically in the workplace. So I teach yoga as people request it, so to speak. So,
okay,
I do teach for a studio locally, but if a group or something asks me to come in, I can also teach for them.
right. Okay. And so typically, how many people do you normally instruct at one time?
For the yoga,
Yeah. Well, when you said you do the yoga and you do professional counseling, so is that one-on-one or is that like a group?
yes, so the health coaching could be one-on-one. It could be a group, just depending on what program is running at the time. For us right now, it's May, and May is hormone month. So I do have a master class that's happening right now. It's asynchronous though, so it's already pre-recorded with a bunch of downloads. So right now, I don't have any group true group programs happening, but those do happen throughout the year.
Hormones. Now that is a word that a lot of women right now are really getting into. I did a couple shows already on perimenopausal and menopause because I believe I was inspired by when I listened to the Oprah show, the special she had on,
hmm
and she had all those amazing women on there sharing their story, and I'm like, that's true. Like it's not a topic that we talk about. And have you started your journey with it? And what's been your
Yes,
experience?
absolutely. It's been crazy. It's been a roller coaster, kind of like you were saying. You just don't know what's happening with your body. All of a sudden, you're going along one day fine, and then you don't remember why you walked into this room, or you're working and you're really productive, and then all of a sudden you get this crazy brain fog out of nowhere. Yeah, the mood swings, the hair loss, the night sweats, the hot flashes. I mean, need I say more?
Not sleeping at all.
The not
Or,
sleeping at all.
I couldn't believe it when even Oprah said for 2 years she didn't sleep. I'm like, you must have been a damn zombie. No wonder why we're quote unquote bitchy. We're not bitchy. We're just tired, but we can't sleep because our hormones are racing. And try and tell that to your kids and your husband.
Yes. And actually, I just met somebody, I think it was last week or the week before, who was telling me that she lost her job and she felt like the reason she was let go was because she's in this perimenopause and she didn't know like how to handle all the things. Yeah.
Right.
So it's a real problem for people and getting a handle on it. And my take is maybe a little bit different than other people's. I really feel like you have to dial in your lifestyle, your nutrition, before looking at pharmaceuticals. That's just where I'm coming from. Is once all of it is dialed in, let's get your lifestyle, nutrition, movement, sleep dialed in, and then add in, some supplements if you need it. whatever supplement that may be, whether it's estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Let's see how that goes for you first, because maybe it's a big switch. Maybe you really do feel something, something switch there if we get the lifestyle piece.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, and the greatest thing when you go to your MD is, well, everybody's different. Which symptom would you like me to treat? And I'm like, isn't there like a magic something for everything?
I wish. And then the crazy thing is that you find something that works, and it works for a little while. And then a couple months down the road, your hormones start doing this again, and you have to choose something else. So yeah, go back to the doctor and kind of, get more testing done and figure out what's going to work. What's the right dosage that's going to work.
Right. And then heaven forbid if you have stress on top of that, because then stress just escalates it even more, I found.
Yes. And who doesn't have stress in their life, right? Well, who doesn't have stress? Yeah, that is the thing. So really learning how to compartmentalize, put boundaries around your time and energy is so important for the working woman. And that's really what I focus on, is how to do that, how to organize your life through the daily deposit framework. That's kind of my framework for living a healthy, holistic mind, body, behavior life, where the stress is low. Of course, we're going to have it, but the stress is low and you're able to get a handle on these things and dial in that lifestyle piece. Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So you said mind, body, and spirit, I think is what you said. So how does that all apply? Like, how does that give me a for instance, because I'm the type of person that needs like a visual in my head anyways.
Yeah. So mind, body, behavior, that's kind of what I'm looking at, is not just looking at the mind, because when I was doing therapy, that was my focus, right? What are your thoughts? Let's get those under control, those negative thoughts. Coming from cognitive behavioral therapy, that was kind of my background and training. But what I realized through my own health journey is that what I was thinking was also influencing my nervous system. And what I was eating was influencing my emotions and nervous system and thoughts itself. So when you realize that most of your serotonin, which is that happy hormone, is made in your gut, right, in your intestines, and what you eat is affecting your intestines and your microbiome and the ability for you to make the serotonin, that happy hormone, then it's like, oh, light bulb moment. If I want to feel good, I better eat good. So that's the mind body piece. There's that connection. The behavior comes in when I'm going to stay motivated to stay on that healthy trajectory. And that means I need a community. So we really look at what's going on in the thought pattern, what's going on in the physiology, and how are we using the lifestyle piece for the body? And then how do we continue to stay motivated by having a community? So hopefully that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yes. I love that. Yeah. Because sometimes without the support, like you can have all the tools, but without support, you really don't have. You can fall back into your old patterns, right?
Exactly.
And 100%. And that's why, mentors and coaches need coaches and mentors, because, the same thing, right? It's funny because I just heard that from my mentor this past week, and one of the recordings I was listening to, I was just like, yes, okay, that makes sense. And that's why, in my opinion, like I found my tribe and things have been different. And a tribe of, amazing women that don't let you give up on yourselves. Right?
Yes.
Is what I call a tribe. And so never having experienced that before, it has made all the difference.
Yes.
And so I love that you give the support, the tools and the support, and then the aftercare or the after party, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
How I assimilate it.
Yeah, because we have to stay motivated, or else we're just going to fall back. I mean, it's human nature. We fall back into those unhealthy patterns. It's so easy to do. We get discouraged. We have a bad day. Somebody yells at us or looks at us wrong. And then it's like, oh, whatever. I'll start my diet on Monday.
And then the next Monday. And then the next Monday.
Yeah.
I get you. Totally get you on that. Oh, love it. Love it. I'm glad I'm not the only one that can identify with that. Oh, wow. So, is there any upcoming events that you have coming up or anything like that for our listeners?
Well, if you're here in the Boise area, we've got the yoga coming up, and I'm actually doing an infant massage class at St. Al's. It's a local hospital here, so for people who are local. And we will be doing actually a detox, a community detox. So that is online, and that's going to be coming next month. So I don't have the dates quite yet, but that is a virtual event that anybody can jump in. It's a 10-day detox, which I think is a great jumpstart. It's not scary. You don't have to give up, too much. You have to give up some, but not too much. You can still eat meat. So everyone always asks that. Can I eat meat? Yes.
Oh, I love that. It's funny because I keep hearing this. If you want change, you got to change the way you are, right? Like you can't expect change doing the same thing and same thought pattern, same thing, right? And I'm like, well, why not? I should be able to eat a case of donuts and still be the way I am, right? No, and note that I don't eat donuts, so it's just
No, I believe you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if it doesn't, my what do you call that? Fitness instructor on the board says if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And then he almost kills you in the gym.
And what I find too is that, we got ourselves into the situation, whatever that situation is, that we're unhappy with and that we'd like to get out of. But oftentimes we're not the person that's going to get us out of the situation. Like, we can't see outside of our own perception. And so it does take a coach, it does take a mentor, somebody else that's, going to help guide you and support you through that process. So I don't want people to feel bad thinking, no, I got to, pull up my big girl panties and try to get this going myself. It doesn't typically work that way.
No, 100%. I love that you said that. And so for that woman that's out there right now, that's completely stressed out, really hanging on by her fingernails, what would you say to that woman?
I would say, I feel you. I completely understand how you feel, and you're not alone. I think a lot of times that person, and I was that person, felt like, what's wrong with me? You're looking around at everybody else that's in the office or your friend group thinking they got it together. Their kids are clean and have clothes on, why are mine running around like wild banshees? No, it's just, you're looking at everybody else thinking, why can't I get it together? Or why is it so hard? Why does it have to feel so hard? And it doesn't. We're not alone in this. And, reach out, whether that's to your best girlfriend, or this podcast or whatever it is. But I caution people about just Googling. Like, don't just get on the Google machine or, your best friend, ChatGPT. And even though it's so supportive, it can be so supportive to do that, to turn to AI. You need a real person, I feel like, to be on the other end and to really show some empathy and help guide you into what's the next best step.
Right. That's funny because I have a doctor that says, don't go to Dr. Google. Please just don't go to Dr. Google. But I'm like, okay, so it could be one of 20,000 different things.
Yes.
And you're just praying to God it's not cancer because,
right. Right. Yes.
And I found that the same symptoms that are in perimenopause is the same symptoms can be something as thyroid issues that can be the same symptoms as having a heart attack, so on some of the cases. So I'm just like, this is just crazy.
Yeah, yeah. By the end of it, you think you're going to die. Like, you don't have much longer to live after you read all of the things. But test, don't guess is what I say. So that's why I, point you to a professional, or, what's the next best step again that you could take. And maybe that next best step is just, I need to get some sleep. I mean, I need a serious 9-10 hours of solid rest, and then I'll feel better.
Wow. I am in awe of you at 9 to 10 hours. Holy shit. I don't remember the last time.
I know. No one gets that. But, maybe that is the next best step.
Maybe. That's interesting. My body has me up at 4 o'clock and I can't sleep past that. So, wow.
Yeah. Are you taking naps during the day, though?
No. I work during the day.
Well, some people sneak off to their car, get a little cat nap.
It's funny you said that, because I admitted this to my boss, so this is no secret to him. It was on my lunch break. Let me clarify that. Mm-hmm. And I was just so drowsy. I was just like, I have never in my life felt this way before. So I went into the boardroom and I just laid on the floor. I'm just like, let me just lay here for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I go to my car quite frequently on my lunch hour and go and fall asleep in my car. I'm just like, huh. Usually I'm walking on my lunch hour, but.
Yeah. And, both of those things are great. Take a nap, walk, whatever you need to do, whatever your body feels like it needs to do. But don't put pressure on yourself. I think that's the other thing, is that we're such achievers for most of us, that we're like, oh, we have to produce. And did I get my 10,000 steps today? Well, I better walk, so I can get those 10,000 steps, but your body's screaming for you to take a nap. So maybe the nap is really the better option.
Interesting. Funny you said that, because honestly, I don't remember even taking a nap when I was a kid. So it wasn't until I met my husband, which was 8 years ago, that I started having a nap occasionally. And now, like, I'll go cut the grass and I'll come in and I'm like, I gotta lay down for a minute. I'm just like, what the hell is this? I'm 48 years old. It'll be 49 in July. And I'm like, well, I refuse to believe I'm falling apart. I refuse to believe that. But
you're not falling apart.
I am that overachiever, and that has to feel like, hey, I don't know about you, or if there's anybody out there listening now, that in order to show your worth, we were told that you have to work, right?
Yes.
If I don't know if that resonates with you, but in my family, that's how you showed love. Oh, I love you. Here, let's work to be almost dying, and then we'll slow down, right? Mm-hmm. And heaven forbid if you work for yourself, because that's just crazy talk. And so it's just a cycle of those conversations of saying, oh, okay, you can't slow down. And then when you slow down, you feel guilty because you slow down.
Right. Yeah, 100% agree with that. And then that makes you think that you have to reach those benchmarks, whatever that benchmark is for you, whether it's mowing the lawn and weed eating and weeding the garden and whatever else that you have to do. Well, you can't quit till you get X, Y, and Z done. But no, feel into your body to say, what does my body need right now? I'm a grown woman. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to do these things.
You were reading my mail back 8 years ago, because my husband was honestly, I never missed school or work till I met him. And I was 40 years old. And he's like, oh, well, just call in sick. I'm like, you can't do that. That's not even allowed. Well, what do you mean? I'm like, my dad would have killed me. Like, seriously. Not really, but I mean, he would not have been happy about that. And you were never sick when you were going to school on a Friday, because if you were sick on a Friday, you were in bed all weekend. And so when you have those thoughts and it's been programmed for 40 years, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like, wow, what is that? Like, what is the alternative?
It's so true. And so much of that is cultural, I feel like, as well as self-imposed. So it's not only, coming from the outside, but it's coming from inside too, and my self-worth. And, what do people think about me and say about me? And what do I feel about me? It's all wrapped up in that. It's all wrapped up in that. So, that's the mind piece, right? And how we treat ourselves and how we love ourselves.
So if you had a client come to you and say these crazy things, like there's no way they can slow down, what would be the first thing that you tell them?
I would want to dig into that a little bit. Like, where does that come from? Is it self-imposed? Because some of it, I think it's both, really, to be honest. If people were really honest with themselves, it's coming from a long time ago, but it's partly them too saying, this is about me and my pride. This is my pride, my ego, and my self-worth all wrapped up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I thought I didn't have an ego. I'm like, I'm not egotistical. There's no way I have an ego, right? But ego is many things. And letting that go. Trust me, I get it. It's been a process. Um and like I just said, that was one of the things, and now I'm finding that there's like a massive shift in a lot of people that I'm talking to of like
Mm-hmm.
either they don't want to work anymore, or they're like,
Mm-hmm.
nope, I'm working, I'm putting this many hours in and forget about it, and just taking that time to slow down.
Yeah.
And realizing, I think sometimes it comes down to a conversation of self-worth, right? Because they either don't feel worthy, so they have to continue to do instead of just be and be fine. Um, so I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's all wrapped up in stress. I mean, it gets that cortisol pumping. It's like this domino effect, of leading us into the sympathetic nervous system space, that flight, fight, freeze, appease space where we're just go, 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 and shutting down other relaxation nervous system. So, there's a push pull with the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system always happening, but we want to land more in that parasympathetic space, that rest and digest space. But we have to consciously put ourselves there. It's not going to happen naturally, not in this, culture that we live in that wants to keep us in fear or, just constantly productive, because that's, again, how we show our worth. And I don't know what your family is like, but for most people, they're busy. Their family life is extremely busy, and they've overscheduled themselves, overscheduled their kids. And it's like, wait a minute, let's take a step back and have a down day, down weekend where we're not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. And historically that has been, let's we cram everything you can in 2 days because it's the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to go back to work just to freaking get a holiday because, it's you've literally have put so much time in on the weekends. And I love that. And I, thankfully I've done a lot of work, and thankfully I'm just like, okay, now it's time to slow down. Like I don't want to work. And I'm part of or was part of a group where, you know, I get all about goals and obtaining goals and holding yourself accountable to those goals. But I found sometimes that the pressure was just like way too much. Um, and the responsibility, I don't want responsibility anywhere. I've learned that, I was responsible for everybody growing up. My grandmother just passed away. I was power of attorney for her for 5 years. I mean, the word responsibility actually makes me shudder right now. And so she died February 16th, and I said, okay, I'm done. And everybody's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I am shutting down. Like, I can't do anything else. I will go to work,
Mm-hmm.
come home, and that's it. And they're like, but you don't stop. I'm like, well, I'm stopping now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Good for you.
And putting all that, and I'm still not up to full speed, and I don't even want to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why there's going to be a lot of shifts here. But yeah, it's just like the days of people pleasing and being busy are done. And if anybody can resonate with this, that's listening in, trust me, you're not alone. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that, when I was talking to Gina in the pre-interview, that's what, she's like, because what she started, she knew what it was like, and she didn't want people to feel alone. That's why she started her practice. And so I can identify with those people, and just like sitting back, and you don't have to constantly busy from the time that you wake up to the time you go to bed.
No, and it's really an evolution. Like you've evolved into this person, right? And it took you probably years to do it. But there'll be another evolution of you, in the next few years. You're just going to keep getting better as you become more self-aware of what you need, that you needed that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now I really want to take a week off of everything. I'm like, who is this person? She went from working all the time to, I don't want to do nothing. I'm becoming more like my husband. My husband's like the chill guy. Like, just leave
Uh-huh.
me alone. Let me chill. I just want to work, come home, and do nothing. Like playing. He got himself a gaming computer, so he's playing video games, and so I'm just like, I wish I could be more like you in some aspects.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's his relaxation.
Yes. Yes. Well, and I have a friend that she's also married to a gamer, and she goes, I get so upset. They're either watching sports or video games. But I said, and I won't say their name, and I said, but what do you do? Like, what's your relaxation? Well, I meditate, I journal. I'm like, okay, that's what we do. But you can't be on them because they're like
Right,
watching sports and playing video
right.
games. That's their meditation.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, getting your head wrapped around that, because I'm sure there's a lot of women out there right now that are listening. Their husbands are sports fanatics, and they get very
Mhm.
angry because of that. But that's their meditation.
Yeah, that's their relaxation and meditation and the way they, come down from a stressful day. And everybody has their own thing. So yeah, we can't impose the way we like to do things on other people, for sure.
But wouldn't the world be better if it was?
if we could run it the way we liked it.
I think we should run for president. President and premier. How about that?
There you go.
It would be a different world, that's for sure. I won't say it would be better, it just would be different.
Yes.
Oh well. Alrighty. So any tips for those women out there that are struggling, that they're thinking, okay, I need something different?
Yeah, that's a great question. It depends really on what they're struggling with that they want to be different. But again, I go back to this idea of what's the next best step. And for somebody who has a lot going on, a lot that they want to change, it can be really scary to think, I don't even know what the next best step is, because I've heard that too. I've got all these things. Maybe they've been diagnosed with something. Maybe they're in a bad relationship. Maybe they don't have any community. So I say pick one area. Pick one area that you want to change right now, and then decide what's the next best step in this area. And maybe it is sleep. So if it's sleep for me, then I'm going to try to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every day. I'm going to start getting things ready for bed an hour before, instead of, oh my gosh, it's midnight. When am I still doing, watching TV or whatever it is? So just making those tiny micro tweaks. It doesn't have to be something huge that we are changing all at once, because that's overwhelming. No one likes to do that, and it's not sustainable anyway. So what's the lowest hanging fruit, in other words, that you can you can do to start moving. We just need to get in momentum, really is what it's about.
Right. I love that. Start and be consistent. Like start somewhere, anywhere. I'll make small, tiny adjustments. What is that book? Atomic Habit, where he says be 1% better than you were the day before. And don't you said something at the beginning too about comparing yourself to somebody else, and been there, done that, wrote the book about it. But that is so true. Like if we only compare ourselves to ourselves and not ourselves to somebody else, right? Because we have no idea what they went through to get to where they're at today.
Right. And we don't see what's behind the scenes either. All we see is what people present.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we present well on social media, but
Yes.
Right. I share the good, the bad, the ugly. And sometimes that's good and sometimes it's not. But I mean, everybody is out there just putting the best out there. And so you're right. We have no idea what's behind their doors. And so,
yes,
just be kind.
Yes, absolutely. Even at work too, I feel like people are trying to do the best that they can do and put their best foot forward at work too. And I mean, that was my story of looking at other women who were in my office going, why is this so hard for me? I don't get it. But yeah.
And especially women who are in our age bracket who are now going through perimenopause and menopause. Like it didn't even strike me. I'm the type of person that puts one foot in front of the other and I don't think about anything. I just like zoom through it until I'm on the other side. And I've learned that I'm a unicorn because some people, can't just do that. And so, and I'm not making myself right or wrong for that. But I had a conversation with a colleague and I out of nowhere, I had uncontrollable rage. Like I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't understand this. And the woman comes up to me, she goes, I get it. We're the same age. We're going through the change. And I'm just like, I never even thought of that. I just thought, I just blamed it on the situation. And I was just like, oh, right. And just giving yourself the grace when you're in those moments and saying, okay, I'm just going to take a step back. Like, I don't know about you, but I've had conversations with my peers and just like, I just need a minute. I'll be back. And my boss is like, go take a 5-minute walk, come back, right? And just being open and authentic because I think we're all going through something.
Right.
And just to have the grace to say, okay, obviously they're going through something, just give them some time.
Right.
But yeah, and we never know. Never know.
You don't. You never know.
No. And I haven't got the winning lottery numbers yet, so.
So you have to keep working. Yeah.
Or if somebody can pick this show up, we'll syndicate it and we'll get everybody's story on national television.
That would be awesome.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Everybody will be syndicated. Everybody will be seen throughout the world. That is what's coming next.
I love that.
Right. Oh, me too. All right, Gina, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. Is there any last words that you have for our guests?
I just, again, want to speak to those working women out there who are burning the candle at both ends and trying to make it all work and feeling like they are pushing that boulder up the hill. I feel you, I get it, and you're not alone in this. So please reach out again, whether it's to me or your best buddy or a mentor that you have to say, hey, I need to talk to somebody. Like something's not right here. Let's make some help me figure out some micro tweaks to make in my day, putting little daily deposits in so that I don't go bankrupt.
Right. I love that. Yes. Don't go bankrupt, whether that be emotionally, spiritually, financially,
Yes.
reach for help. I love that. Absolutely love that. And where's the best place for them to reach you?
The best place is my website, which you've got there, wellnesswithgina.com.
Perfect. Love that. So now we come to the section of the program where we usually ask what your 3 fundamentals are. We have some fun with this. And usually I have the roving reporter, the amazing Kimberly here. She's just unable to be here today. And so when we started this segment of the show, we were thinking, let's have some fun because people are not having fun. Right? I started this show 4 years ago, so that was smack right in COVID hitting. So people were having fun being isolated or not having fun. Anyways,
Yeah.
So fun, capital FUN/mentals, is how we pronounced it. So what would you say if you were to pass away tomorrow? What would be the 3 things that you'd want someone to remember you by?
Oh gosh. So I took this question completely different when you sent me the form.
That's okay. It doesn't have to be.
I know.
It's your fundamentals. Like, what do you live your life by? And what would you want people to remember you by, I guess?
Yeah. I think the number one thing that people know me by and remember me by, after having spent time with me is peace and harmony. Like just a calm, and that's kind of what I want people to get when they're around me, when they're with me, that I am putting that out, that kind of energy out into the world. Harmony and peace is my number one. And that's how I want to live my life too, is that's kind of at the center of what I am, I feel like.
Right. Perfect. And your second one?
Is that I do like to have fun. I do like to laugh. I love comedy and concerts and just, being around fun people. So we're empty nesters right now, my husband and I. That's kind of new to us. And so we're having fun doing those kind of couple things again, without having the kids around. So yeah, just going out like on a random weekday. Who does that when I have to get up and go to work in the morning? Throwing caution to the wind.
Go girl. Good for you.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Not having to worry about anybody but yourself. It's a new thing, Again, I'm in this different phase of life now. So it's kind of cool to be here.
I love that. What's the one thing no one knows about you?
That no one knows about me. Very few people know that maybe not very few, but I don't think many people know I'm terribly afraid of heights, but I've been skydiving twice and rock climbing once, like high rock climbing, and it was terrifying. But yeah, some scary stuff when you're afraid of heights.
Right. Wow. So how was the skydiving then if you're afraid of heights? I have to know.
It was, I had to get over my fear. Like I had terrible anxiety. I still do, quite honestly. It didn't go away by jumping out of an airplane. But it was so freeing. I will always and forever. I mean, I loved it so much I did it again because just feeling absolutely the freedom of not being scared. Like you're scared at first, right? Mm-hmm. Until you get pushed out of that perfectly good airplane.
Pew, there you go.
Yes, because you're strapped to somebody else. When you're strapped to somebody else who's going to be, skydiving with you, you have no choice.
And did you scream at them the entire way down?
Yeah, I did. But I also felt very free.
I love it. Oh, that is fun. That's one thing. Now, if you're listening to this episode or, on the replay, tell us what you did to get over your fear. What's your number one fear and what you did to get over it? I would love that. So I love that.
I still have to challenge myself, because I still have that. I don't know that it'll ever go away, that I'll never, have that. So I still try to do things that will challenge that. Otherwise, I feel like it gets worse. The anxiety around whatever you're fearful of, it just, as you get older, it gets worse and worse and worse. So you gotta tackle it.
Well, I'm not afraid of heights. Well, it depends on what level. Let's see. I can go up a ladder, no problem. I did it this weekend. I can go up to my attic. I can do all that. Skydiving, I don't know. That sounds kind of crazy. Fun, but crazy. But I mean, we might have to take the show on the road and go for a skydiving lesson or a hot air balloon ride.
That would be awesome. That's my next thing. I haven't done that yet, but I think they've got it around Idaho somewhere. I got to try it out.
Maybe we'll meet and we'll do a show on the road and be up in the hot air balloon ride.
That would be awesome.
That would be. Yeah, I don't see me skydiving, but I'll do the hot air balloon.
It's nice and gentle. Yeah.
Right. I'm afraid of the landing for the parachuting.
Skydiving. Yeah, no, yeah. It's very gentle actually.
Is it?
Yeah. Once he pulls that parachute, it's actually very nice. It's very scenic, beautiful.
You see your life flash before your eyes, first of all. Oh, who knows? I might try it. We'll see.
You never know. You never know.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing your wisdom on our show and giving our listeners some amazing advice. And don't forget, guys, go check out Gina's website, wellnesswithgina.com. Definitely go over there, check her out, and see what she's all about. And because I know there is a bunch of working women out there that are stressed to the max, not sure what they're doing next in life. And, that's what Gina's here for. So go check her out, have a conversation with her, tell her you saw her on the show, subscribe to her channel. And if you have an overcoming story, we'd love to hear it. So definitely just send us an email at grahamdorothy408@gmail.com. And like I said, subscribe to our channel. And thank you so much, Gina, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dorothy. This was fun.
Absolutely. All right, guys, be unstoppable in all that you do. And remember, same time, same channel next week. Bye for now.